Hello, how are ya?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Alright, well, I'll see you when I get home.
You must be Issa.
Yes.
Did I say your name correctly?
Issa.
Isa. Alright, your turn. Time to guess what my name. How will you pronounce my name?
Let's see. No, that's a tough one. Binya?
Try again.
Bino? Bino?
You're right the first time. I'm just
Really?
kidding. Oh, yeah. That was terrible, wasn't it? You totally got it. Nice to meet you, Isa.
You too.
Do you know what your name means?
My mom has told me multiple times, but honestly, it just like slips
Okay,
in my head.
gotcha.
It's like, because it's my dad's middle name in Islam.
Yeah.
Issa is like one of the gods or something like that.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
So I was right the first time, Isa.
Yeah.
But
So-
yours is pronounced Isa.
Yeah, just because like I didn't want to be pronounced like my dad's name. So
Oh,
I
I
was
see.
like, let's do Issa.
Gotcha. Self-expression is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yes. it
Yes.
is.
So you are from which country, Isa?
So my mom is from Oman.
Yep.
And then my dad is Somalian.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. A lovely blend.
Yeah. Nice.
How did they meet?
They met in university
Oh, okay.
at the University of Istanbul.
Oh, okay.
So I was actually born in Turkey.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Have you ever figured out why they call that place Turkey?
No,
Okay.
I haven't. That's a good question.
I'm always intrigued by that. Turkey.
Oh.
Because it's a name that I often get called by my friends.
Oh, really?
Affectionately, of course.
Yes, yes.
But yes. So I was born in Ethiopia.
I have
Yeah.
a feeling you're Ethiopian. A lot of people get mistaken me for Ethiopian.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I went to Kenya in 2019,
Okay.
and I stopped in Addis Ababa, and literally every single person was stopping me, telling me that I'm so beautiful, but
Yeah.
in Ethiopian.
Yeah.
And then eventually, a lady that speaks English
Yes.
was just like, "Oh, well, people are telling you that you're beautiful," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, thank you."
Aww. Do you know which language they were telling you that in?
I don't. Maybe if I heard the name of it.
Konjo? Yene Konjo? Okay. That's the Amharic way of saying my
Okay.
beautiful. But
Oh, thank you.
yes, so what other languages do you speak, Isa?
Swahili.
So I've only retained about 5 words. Because I grew up in Nairobi.
In Nairobi.
I
nice,
did,
nice.
yeah. I was 8 years old when we moved here, but
Okay.
shortly after I was born is when we moved to Kenya.
Nice.
Yeah. Swahili was my worst subject in school.
Really? Aw.
So I only remember Jumbo, Habari Yako, Muzuri Sana, Asante Sana.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. I don't necessarily speak it, but
Yes.
I understand.
You're familiar.
Yeah, because my mom would always talk to me in Swahili, and I would always reply back in English.
Okay.
And then when I did try, when I went back home, my cousins would make fun of me. And they called me Mzungu.
Oh yes, there's
I don't know
that.
if you know what that means.
I've heard of that
Yeah.
one too. Muzungu.
Yeah. So then I just like stopped. I was like, nope, not gonna do it.
So how old were you when you moved to Canada?
I was one.
1. So you were basically born here.
Yeah, I've been here my entire life.
And I'm guessing you're the oldest
Yes.
of how many? 2.
Well, my dad has other kids, but
Sure.
we don't know.
Oh, okay. Does that mean your dad wasn't in the picture for quite some time?
No, not
Okay.
for a very long time. He recently just started to come back into the picture.
Yeah.
It
How
was
was that?
hard.
Was it?
It was hard, like, trying to get back to having a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, what, 15 years of not having a
Yeah.
relationship. But it definitely has made me a better person.
Okay.
And all those experiences made the person who I am today.
Sure.
And I guess, yeah, it's nice now that I can have that relationship with my father and talk to him and have those feelings and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've often wondered what's like when you don't have one there for a significant portion of your developing years,
Yeah.
and then how that translates, like when it shifts again, I suppose.
I mean, it's definitely, for kids especially, it's hard because they don't understand.
Mhm.
They just think like, oh, he just left, like, doesn't want anything to do with me. When there's a bigger picture to everything.
Yeah.
And I think that was the hardest hump for me to get over, is
Yeah.
like understanding everything and
Sure.
having an adult mentality to it.
Yeah. Totally fair.
Yeah. And I mean, I work with kids, so knowing that a lot of the time and helping those kids that don't have both of their parents is honestly the best thing for me to do. Just
Yeah.
because I have had that experience myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just navigating them through that whole confusing time is honestly really good for me to help them.
Yeah. That's really cool. It intrigues me, the dynamic of how our biggest, I guess, strengths come from the most devastating of experiences.
Situations.
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
no. And honestly, like, if I didn't go through that, I probably would have been a completely different person. Because, like, I grew up with a single mom. I was the oldest out of two. My sister was only, like, 2 years old when my dad left, and I was 12.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So
So-
there's a good difference there.
10 years, yeah.
And your dad left when you were 12 years old,
Yeah.
which is even more devastating in some
At that
sense.
age, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I had to take care of my sister, like get her ready for school every morning. So my mom was going to school full time and working full time.
Mhm.
So it's like I had to step up at 12 years old, taking her to daycare, bathing her, feeding her, putting her to bed, and all that stuff. And honestly, that's probably why I work with children today,
Mhm.
because I just have had like my whole life with kids, and like that's just what I love to do. I love to give those kids that safe place to like be who they are, and like just love who they are, and all those different things.
Mhm. Is it personal for you then?
Pardon?
Is it personal for you working with kids? Because I mean,
Almost
that's
sometimes it is.
yeah.
And that's, I think, why I have such a big heart for kids,
Mhm.
is because I know the struggles that kids go through in this day and age.
Mhm.
And like, it's different from when our parents were growing up. It's completely different. Like anxiety, depression, all those different things weren't a thing when our parents were growing up. So
Mhm.
being this age and understanding and going through all that, and especially with having a parent who didn't understand going through that,
Mhm.
it definitely made a big impact on my
Mhm.
life. And I just want to give that to other kids when I didn't have it.
Sure, absolutely. What's it like then for you working with kids, especially in the way that you're doing so, but seeing the elements that these kids are living in that kind of go contrary to what you're trying to instill in them?
I mean, it can be hard sometimes, just because it's like you want to be hands-on for every situation and always be like in there, but like there's times where you have to like pull yourself back and like kind of see the difference between reality and not so much. But sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, like so like as you're working with these kids,
Yeah.
you have so much you want to invest in them, you have so much you want to see them grow into, and you are resonating with them in a level where you're like, I understand where you're at.
Yeah.
What's it like when you're investing in them, but seeing sometimes, and I'm only making a presumption here, but seeing these kids going back into the elements that almost undo the kind of work you're trying to
It's
instill in
definitely
them?
hard to see that happen.
Yeah.
And like, all I can really do is when they're with me is give them that safe zone. So for me, I mean, it's hard sometimes because it's like, okay, I take them in, I teach them the ways that I think is right, and then sometimes when they come out of my program, it kind of gets unraveled, you know? So for me, it's just being consistent and always showing them that love and like showing them that I'm always there for them and not always being like 6 hours, 7 hours of the day with all these strict rules and also being terrified on top of it. So it's like I have to almost like work for them to understand respect and rules and not be scared of the person that's giving those rules. So in that sense, it becomes hard because it's like I'm almost like reteaching them something every day and the same thing every day. But honestly, if you're consistent with it, a lot of the time it'll go your way.
And this one here is an interesting one. I'm guessing there isn't as much expression or presence of males who are having the same heart as you in your line of work. Does this have any effect on the kids from your observation, or not so much?
I'm gonna say not so much.
Okay.
Because luckily a lot of my kids have that male figure in their life.
Okay.
I only have one child or 2 kids who don't have their father in their life. And honestly, I think for them I just have to work a little bit harder, which is okay. I don't mind doing that at all. But
And work a little harder in what sense?